The Russia-Ukraine war is nearing its fourth year. The war on the ground is only becoming fiercer. Russia has carried out a massive aerial attack on Ukraine. This comes as delegates of both countries began their meeting in Geneva. President Trump has told Kyiv to quickly agree to a deal, and Germany now says that it has no weapons to give Ukraine.
Drones swarm the skies, missiles tear through darkness, barrages pound hours before talk. Escalation grips the battlefield. Russia has unleashed one of its biggest aerial attacks. "400 drones, 29 missiles rained down on Ukraine, and it came just hours before peace talks in Geneva. The constant bombardment shredding power grids and infrastructure across Kharkiv, Odesa, Zaporizhia and other regions. Each new attack tests Ukraine's depleted air defense grid, forcing it to expand interceptors, which are hardly being replenished. All this comes at a time when Russian and Ukrainian negotiators are meeting in Geneva for fresh US-brokered talks. Battered and bruised by the grinding war, Ukrainians have little hopes that the talks would end their ordeal.
There have been so many of these meetings, so much talk about a ceasefire. Belief as such is not very strong, but people are already exhausted. They should be at least given a little rest.
One shouldn't trust the Russians absolutely, not even a little. I really want to believe that something will change after the meeting, but I don't really hope on it.
But political pressure is mounting. Trump's message is blunt. Ukraine must negotiate quickly.
Ukraine better come to the table fast. That's all I'm telling you. We are in a position. We want them to come.
At the same time, Germany has signaled that its weapons stockpiles are largely exhausted. Berlin says there are few systems left to send without undermining its own readiness. Across Europe, fatigue is visible. Supplies are finite. Production lines are stretched. Geneva offers a solution. The battlefield offers leverage. For now, both tracks move in parallel. Talks begin under the shadow of a brutal war, and the question remains, can diplomacy outrun the drones and missiles? Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Dr. Mark Episkopos is a Eurasia Research Fellow at the Quincy Institute and Adjunct Professor at Marymount University. Professor, thank you very much for making time for us and welcome to WION World is One. Fighting between Ukraine and Russia is only escalating. There is not any hopes that negotiation will bear any fruit. But in your view, do you think anything will be achieved in Geneva?
Thank you. Well, as someone who's been following these talks since their inception, I can tell you that the subject matter is very difficult. There is obviously a lot of bad blood between the two sides. This is the most destructive, bloodiest war in Europe since 1945, and no one wants to give up their position easily. That's the bad news. The good news is that we are making slow and steady progress. With each meeting, we are slowly narrowing the gap between Russian and Ukrainian positions, and the U.S. negotiating team has done a very good job of laying out a set of compromise solutions on the territorial issue and on security guarantees that I think both sides are slowly coming around to. But as I say, it's a very difficult set of issues that's being negotiated, and certainly no one should be expecting any miracles today or in the coming weeks.
Professor, what do you make of Trump's recent behavior towards President Zelensky? Many critics claim Trump is arm-twisting the Ukrainian president into making a deal with Putin.
I think this administration has been realistic from the beginning that both sides will have to embark on very difficult, very painful compromises. The United States is not above using all the tools at its disposal to get a settlement across the finish line. And that means having some very difficult conversations with our Ukrainian partners about what can be realistically achieved on the battlefield if this war goes on another month, another 3 months, another half year. And so, yes, there is pressure on President Zelensky. There's also pressure on the Russians. There have been, for example, recent sanctions on Russia, on Lukoil and other energy manufacturers. And again, the strategy is to slowly push the two positions closer and closer together to get something that resembles a finalized deal. And I think we are making progress, but of course, as with any difficult negotiation, progress will be slow and hard fought. The Vietnam War took 5 years to end. The Korean War took many years to end. And I can tell you those wars were much less geopolitically complex than the Ukraine war. So it's a very difficult set of issues. But I do think we're making slow headway.
Dr. Episkopos, finally, Germany has made a U-turn on arming Ukraine. The Chancellor says Berlin doesn't have weapons to assist Ukraine. Your quick reaction?
Well, my quick reaction is the European countries are now beginning to cut into the bone when it comes to stuff we can easily, quickly deliver to Ukrainians. And I mean, just to explain this to our viewers, it's not like shipping iPhones or computers to some other country. These are very complex pieces of military technology that require significant training, significant resources, on-the-ground expertise in order to effectively operate. And I do think many of these countries are beginning to reach the point where the stuff that could have been easily, quickly sent to Ukraine has been sent years ago. And we're now beginning to see a real critical mass of European countries not being able to sustain the war effort. And that, to me, underlines the necessity of thinking more intensely and investing more resources in a negotiated settlement, which is what the United States has been doing. And I hope our European partners will join us on this effort.
Dr. Mark Episkopos is a Eurasia Research Fellow at the Quincy Institute and Adjunct Professor at Marymount University. Professor, thank you for your time and for talking to us today.
Thank you very much.